I get a lot of questions from my consulting clients about how to protect themselves in the 30+ day corporate midterm rental space on Airbnb. And the reason for that is because the methods for vetting on Airbnb are different than the standard traditional methods for vetting off of Airbnb. So this video will cover my 4 best practices, tips, and tricks around how to vet on Airbnb. And because vetting is such a critical part of avoiding a terrible tenant, this is the wrap up of my 4-part video series, My First Terrible Tenant. All right, let's get into it. Airbnb really doesn't want you to put Airbnb tenants on a lease outside of the system. They don't want you to deposit them, and they don't want you to do a background or credit check on them in the way that you would do it for Furnish Finder, Zillow, Avail. The reason for this is because Airbnb wants all the communication, all the contracts, all the agreements to go through Airbnb, which creates 2 issues for the potential host. The first is that you could do a workaround and lease and deposit and do all that stuff to them on the back end, but the problem with that is that you can't do it until you get the tenant's email address, which Airbnb locks down until you've already accepted the request. Problem number 2 is that Airbnb just doesn't want you to do this. And while I have no evidence that the algorithm will punish you if it catches you doing it, I do feel like Airbnb has rules in place for a reason. They want everything to go through their system, and because they will be critical to your success in the midterm space, it's really important that you don't get on their bad side, get on the algorithm's bad side. So in my opinion, this is a risk calculation, and the risk that you're looking at is it more probable that a tenant will come in, wreck your place, and then you will not be covered either by your own insurance or Airbnb's insurance? Is that a bigger risk, or is it a bigger risk that you vet them outside of Airbnb's platform, put them on a lease, put them on a deposit? Airbnb catches wind of this somehow. Will they then demote your listing or demote your account? Again, I have no proof of this, but it's just a risk that I'm not comfortable with because I think Airbnb is so important in this space. So that's the background for it. And so now I'm going to talk about how to vet within their rules. Number 1, make sure instant booking is off. You can do this by going into your listing, accessing policies and rules, and then turning off instant book. And the reason why you want to do this is that if instant book is on, whoever puts the request in that fits your dates and times will just be accepted, versus when it is off, you will have to manually go in and accept or decline them. This is probably the most important step because this limits the automation. As the host are approving or declining every person that's interested in your property. Okay, so you've done step 1, you've turned off the instant book, and now you have an email in your inbox with the approve or decline button, and you have someone inquiring about your property. So you're going to press the approve decline button from your inbox, and it's going to take you to an interface in Airbnb where you can further ask them questions or do research on their profile. Airbnb has now made an update where you cannot see their profile photo until you accept the request. When you look at their profile, you'll see a little black circle with their name. You will also see the number of reviews they have as well as how long they've been on Airbnb. Below that, you'll see confirmations. So you'll see their identity, their email address, and their phone number have all been confirmed by Airbnb. What I care most about though in this screen is what other hosts have said about this potential tenant. So I want to see 3 or more positive reviews because I don't have any other way to background check them, and I feel like the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. I think it's very unlikely that a responsible tenant that has been consistently responsible and had a good relationship with past hosts is going to show up and ruin your place. So I'm looking for past reviews on this screen. And again, I want to see 3 or more. If you feel like you're learning something or you want to help other people in the midterm space find this video, please give this video a like. For step number 3, we're going to review the request. And the way that we're going to do this is when the email comes through, we're going to click that pre-approve or decline button, and again, it's going to take us to Airbnb's interface, and specifically the inbox message that they've sent inquiring about your place. Now, what's important here is to look on the right side because it will tell you the details. So I'm reviewing a request right now, and that request includes the period of time that they want to stay, who all is involved. So in this case, 2 parents, a child, and an infant, and then how much money the host is going to make. But if they were requesting to bring pets, it would also show how many pets they intend on bringing. So this is a better overview of who is coming to your place, the amount of money involved, and how long they will be there than the email that comes through. So you just want to eyeball it and see if you're comfortable with the number of guests coming in, if you're comfortable with the pets, if you think the length of time is enough, etc. And this screen is going to be the best place to review those details. Cover step number 4, just a reminder that I have a new book out on Amazon that will cover how to vet both on Airbnb and outside of Airbnb. It's a good companion piece for this video. All right, and our final step, number 4, it's about communication. So what we are testing the tenant for here is to see how they communicate. And the reason for that is because we want to know that if something comes up in the rental, they're going to be able to communicate it quickly to us. Also, just as a professional practice, both as a host and as a real estate agent, I don't really believe in trying to hunt down people. I think if people are properly motivated, they will respond to you. And it's the same thing here with the tenant. If they are properly motivated, they'll be emailing you back in 2 hours to 24 hours, but you're not going to see a long delay. If someone hasn't responded in 24 hours, they're probably not going to become your tenant. But the other thing you want to look for is, are they introducing themselves? Are they telling you a little bit about their background, telling you a little bit about why they want to stay? As a reminder, avoid asking questions around race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability. Those are just the protected classes on the federal level. Your state and local laws may have additional protections, but you're not looking for that kind of information. You're just looking for an introduction, a feel for why they're coming into town and who they are coming with. I know this final tip is kind of vague, but I think establishing whether or not you want to work with someone based off of their communication is not a small thing. So it's the final tip in how to avoid a terrible tenant situation. Airbnb is so critical to your success in the midterm space that I really recommend embracing it now, learning how to use the product now, and being in that space. So this video will talk about how to write a headline so that you get more Airbnb tenants and don't lose people based off of a weak headline, which is almost, if not as important as photos.